This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that you know. Some rockstar dads who started a show. So here's the next episode.
Welcome everyone to the Rockstar Dad Show. And we're at our new time. Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's Central Standard.
You know, I mean, why doesn't Eastern get a standard also? Shouldn't everywhere just be wherever they are standard?
Yeah. Yeah, they should.
Unless you're that weird Australian time zone that's like, you know, the 30 minutes off. That's not standard at all.
I know. It's so bizarre. What is that, Perth?
It's not Perth. It's somewhere in the middle.
One of those. But, you know, both of us are having we both just had a coffee sitch. So I'm drinking this coffee. So by the way, thank you for everybody who's been concerned about me and my colitis that I talked about on the show. I'm doing a lot better. I got medication. I'm having a colonoscopy tomorrow, which means I'm prepping today, which means I'm kind of just not eating. And then I got to start doing these laxatives here in a little bit.
Yeah, I hear that's a lot of fun.
Well, you know what, man? It's gotten a lot better. And I don't, here's the thing. And you give me credit for this a lot. You really do. Like when I say, you know, being a parent on the road was fucking harder for me because we didn't have this stuff. You'll say, yeah. And there's other things, and you'll give me my credit for this shit. But here's the thing that I want the credit for, Gary.
You know,
they used to not put you under for these fucking things. Like you used to have to go in there, and sometimes they'd give you a Valium, but they shoved that thing 36 inches up your butt and blow you up with air, and it was fucking terrible. But now they put you out.
That just sounds horrible. You've told me in the past though that it's not that bad. Yeah, I mean you know it's like awkward and you know it's just not fun that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean I've heard that the prep, the stuff you drink is just the worst stuff ever.
So it's the day before that's the worst. It's the prep. But here's the thing. So I am doing for the very first time, I'm doing the caplets, the pills. I'm not drinking the drink. Okay. Now the drink has gotten a lot better. You used to have to drink a gallon of this shit. And it's bad. I mean, it's as bad as anything you can think of that you put in your body. So this though, I have to take these 20 pills.
Jeez.
But every 5 minutes, I take 2 until I take 20. But I'm like, fuck it, right? I mean, I could do that. I don't want to suffer. And then it's just like drink a lot of water, and I drink a lot of water anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm having this thing tomorrow, and then and I should be out of the woods. My symptoms are a lot better. I actually went to New York this weekend. But I don't want to talk about that yet. I want to talk about our coffee situation. You and I just had the exact opposite things happen to us on coffee. I'm drinking coffee because I drink coffee now, I guess. And it's one of the things I can have today, you know?
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, I've got this cup that charges and it keeps my coffee at this certain level. So I've been in my office now since 9:30. It's 12:30 when we're recording this, and my coffee has been the exact temperature, and it's been glorious. And I still have over a half a cup from my original one. So I just went to go take a big drink, and I guess it ran out of juice, and I got that like really gross, cold, just shitty thing, and I took like a gulp. And I think it's pretty much the closest I've come to throwing up on my laptop maybe ever.
Yeah, the old like cool leftover coffee is pretty dang horrible. But here's what I don't understand. Like the coffee that's in your cup that's been sitting there that's now got to room temperature, it's just disgusting. But for some reason, like if you get cold brewed coffee, it's like pretty good. I don't like what's going on there?
So I can't do it. I don't like coffee flavor. Like I don't want mocha. Is it mocha? That's chocolate. What's the like coffee flavor?
Yeah,
or is that mocha?
Mocha,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I don't want that in my ice cream, or like, you know, sometimes they'll sneak it into, it's been a long time, I guess, but like, you know, like you get a piece of candy from an old person, you know, and it's, you know, I stopped taking candy from old people a few years back. I as a kid, I just did it all the time. No, but anyway, I don't like coffee flavor, and I've just gotten to where like
Did someone be like, Jaret, don't take candy from strangers,
Yeah.
even though you're older now, you got to stop that.
It's so weird because like we had the same rules as kids, but the Mr. and Mrs. Griffith lived kitty corner to me, and we called him the Candy Man. And every day you could go over their house and you rang the doorbell, and Mrs. Griffith would bring the candy bowl out, and you got a piece of candy every day,
Yeah.
and then and I would go in their house and just sit and chill and stuff. And now my son has been going around it's been actually pretty cool. Him and his friend have been going around and asking people if they can pull their weeds
Okay.
for money.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, don't go in anybody's house, and definitely don't go in anybody or backyard. You can go in their backyard if we know them. And so we're setting up all these rules or whatever. So then he's confused about it. So finally I just go, look, no backyard, no house. And then apparently his friends went into a house the other day and washed their hands. And we're like, well, did you go? No, I just had dirty hands. Okay, good. At least you're following the rules. But yeah, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But back when I was a kid, you just fucking went in there. They gave you a piece of pie.
Yeah. They probably tell you what's going on in the world,
Oh yeah, totally. Now, but anyway, they've been making a bunch of money. And I mean, he'll come home with $15-20.
That's a lot of money for a kid.
It really is. And so he has that thing. We still use Go Henry, which sponsored this show for a while. And so he just gives me the cash and I put that in his account, and then he's got his little credit card and he can spend it on, well, within reason, whatever he wants. But that's where that goes. But anyway, so then you had the opposite coffee experience that I did, right?
Yeah, I did, but I'm going to jump off topic because, like we do, I'm going to follow the line of thought that we're on. Like the money thing with kids is so funny because on the last show we talked about how I'm watching Young Sheldon with Tyler and Mia, and we're she is all about this now. She gets home from school and she's like, Tyler, can we watch Young Sheldon before bed? She wants to wants to just watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Tyler's 13. He's got other stuff going on in his life. Like he's like, maybe we'll watch 1 or 2 episodes before bed, like once a day. He's like, okay, but he doesn't want to do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
And usually after we watch 1 episode, he's like, okay, and she's like, one more, please. So the other day, she's begging for one more, and he's like, convince me, like you have to persuade me. And she sits there and she's like, huh? And she thinks for a second and her eyes just get big and she runs out of the room. And he and I look at each other like, what's happening?
What's about to happen here?
And she just runs back in with $1 to try to hand him the $1.
Yeah, totally.
I'll buy 1 more episode. Let's go. And, he's got enough money that $1 is not that much to him.
Well, see, even then, like the money thing is interesting to me anyway, because when I think about like robbing my dad's change bucket and, and my kids doing the same thing to me and, getting your allowance and it's, $5-10 or whatever, dude. But there's just like this, there's this thing that you can see, feel, and touch, and they just don't have that anymore. I'm not sure how you guys have Tyler saying or how he's doing it, but like, none of my kids actually have money. And like even giving them money, like when they get money for Christmas, they have to just hand it to me and then I digitally send it to them. Like they don't have anything to do with even what that is. And it's such a weird thing. I saw this story the other day that I kind of wondered what your thoughts were about it.
Okay.
Because you sort of keep your hand on the pulse of like economics and like money and things like that. But this guy was saying that basically, because in a roundabout sort of way, I'm going to try to explain what he said, but he was just like that we need cash because when you use a credit card, first of all, 3% of that goes to such and such company or whatever. So you're then paying this local establishment 3%, 5% less than what they were going to make. So $100 isn't $100 anymore, right? And that's really kind of what it boiled down to. It was like the more you do it, then that money just disappears. But it's almost like water, right? Like water does, you can waste water, but it doesn't disappear.
Right.
Like it's still there. I mean, that 3% then is probably built into the price of what it is that business is doing. And then that company then is paying other people. The money isn't not going somewhere. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the money is always going somewhere. It kind of becomes like, a best use issue. Is that
Yeah.
the best use of that issue? And it's a little bit of a inflationary or a tax. It's like there's to the consumer, it's not so much of a value to pay that credit card fee, except for, what I always say is you pay for convenience.
100%. Yeah, it's in a song.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I read that same thing that you're talking about, and like he did make some valid points. There are definitely some good reasons, and there's some other reasons we probably don't need to get into right now on the show, that like getting completely away from cash isn't a great idea. But to your point, that's the way the world's going. Tyler has cash; he's got a stack of cash in his drawer. But it's that same thing that you're saying. Whenever we were kids, like, oh, if you got $5, we're going to go to the Ms. Baird shop and you can get a fried pie for 50 cents. We actually spent cash, or we
Yeah.
go to Best or Sears
Yes.
or something.
Gibson's.
And, yeah, and buy like a GI Joe. Like my kids don't. Mia does. Mia wants to go to Target and physically buy something.
Mhm.
Tyler's never been like that, but when every now and then I'll be in the living room and he just walks in the room and he'll hand me a $20 bill and I go, "What's this?" He's like, "I'm buying something on Xbox." All
Yeah.
right. I mean,
There you go.
it's
Yeah.
your money. It's my credit card that's on the account, but he's
Yeah.
giving me the $20 for it, so go for it.
Same thing. Yeah, but you're exactly right. Like Everett is to the point of like, hey, if there's something he wants or he needs, I'm just like, yeah, I'll order that on Amazon. It'll be here tomorrow. Like we don't go to the store and get it. And you're so right. And I love the fact that every time you bring up the Mrs. Baird shop, it makes me so happy because I can just picture both of us on our bikes, just riding from opposite ends of the city,
Yeah.
about the same distance, actually,
Right.
to where it was. And just so stoked, 13 fucking pies for $1 because it's all day old shit,
Yeah.
And man, that was fucking great. It was
was the
awesome
best.
to have that place.
Man, you know what some of those Ms. Baird pies would go good with?
What's that?
This
Coffee.
coffee that I'm
Yeah.
having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey got a coffee on the plane the other day, and you know how if you fly American Airlines, they give you those Biscoff cookies.
Oh yeah.
And Rob likes those with his coffee, and I just was sitting there eating my Biscoff cookies with my ice water that I get every single time. I don't ever stray. And I was thinking, man, that really would be good with a coffee, but it's too much trouble to ask now.
Yeah, see, I like those cookies too, but I never have coffee on a plane unless it's the descent on an international flight, like when they're waking you up and bringing breakfast and like the coffee's already made. You know?
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't do coffee on a plane.
You sort of smell it, and they're kind of doing that whole
Yeah.
thing. I've never done it. I've never done the coffee on the plane thing before. I bet I am newly inducted into this whole thing, so maybe that's a place that I'll get. You will see. I'm still trying to play. I'm still playing it safe. Like I don't really know what coffee does to my stomach or like whether or not it makes me poop, because I know it makes a lot of people poop.
Yeah.
And like I don't need any more help.
Yeah. You're doing just fine right there.
I'm doing great on my own, but this weekend we flew up to New York and we celebrated. This is fucking crazy to me. We celebrated Casey's grandparents' 70th wedding anniversary.
Dang.
70 years. It was just wild. To see.
You don't hear that a lot. How old were they when they got married?
Yeah, so I think she was 16. And it's a fucking great story. He's like, this upstate New York guy, and across the tracks is all the Italian folks. And he went over and got the pretty Italian girl, and he knocked her up, and he's Catholic, so they fucking got married.
Yeah.
And 5 kids and just all of these grandchildren and great grandchildren running around, and just all of this, and of course there was a microphone, so I got up there. And I didn't cry, which was interesting, but I just said, it's look at all of this, like look at all of these people in this room because you guys, found one another. And now there's all these relationships and all of these kids and all of these families and all of these humans and just all of this interaction. And I met Dennis's brother. So my father-in-law, who you guys know, we talk about a lot. Dennis is just the goddamn best.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's just the best. So I got to meet his brothers and see where he came from and see the house that he grew up in and all these stories that he tells all the time. And this guy loves his childhood and his existence and his just where he's from and stuff. And so it was just such a fucking magical weekend. And I was very lucky in that I had finally gotten on these meds to where I didn't have any trouble. So I pretty much everything timed out great. It was like right when we landed, I was like, go into the bathroom,
Yeah.
and but just a magical thing to see two people who have been together that fucking long, and just all of these people around them that love them, and it was really, really cool weekend.
It'd be interesting to hear from Casey or Dennis or Shanna if whenever you were saying that to the group, if when you're like look at you and everyone here, and to think
Yeah.
when you guys, if they were like, oh shit, is he gonna say
100%. Yeah. Oh no, that happened. I told Casey, I'm going to go up there, and she goes, do you really need to? And I was like, yes, I feel like I should say something because they've been so great to like first of all, Casey is a step grandchild, right? So because Dennis is her stepdad.
Yeah.
They have always treated her as if she is she's one of the family. So obviously our son, Casey's cousin Emma, who's raised by her raised by the Dennis and Shanna, is treated this. So yeah, I felt like I just needed to say, and my children have never not gotten a birthday. My two older kids who I don't even know that they've ever met in person, but they get a birthday card every single time, Christmas card, Christmas money, all this stuff. And I just felt like, but yes, there was definitely the as soon as I took the mic, and of course I know how to talk on a microphone. Everybody else had it like way too far away from their mouth and shit.
Right.
And I get right up on that motherfucker. So everybody can hear me, and everybody can hear me anyway. Oh my God, Gary. This is the best story. We're all down in the basement where all the boys used to hang out. And they're such an interesting family because so they call Dennis's dad Dirk because their last name's Durkee, and then Gene. So Dirk and Gene had two kids right away. And then they waited like 10, 15 years. And then they had three boys right in a row. So these two older kids just had these little shits running around, just these little Huey, Louie, and Dewey, and but anyway, so these boys were all sort of everybody's 2 years apart. So they had, this basement with a pool table and a poker table and all this. So anyway, that's where everybody gathers, and he's built a bar down there, and it is really cool. Everybody signs the wall. I got to sign the wall, but it was really funny because it got to going down there, right? And his dad's 90.
Yeah.
and it got like, so it's just going and going, and it's just, and then so, and in the sweetest way possible, this is the conversation that happened. It got quiet all of a sudden, and Dirk just goes, man, it got quiet down here. And Dennis's brother Dean goes, yeah, it did really quick. And Dirk just goes, man, all you got to do is get Jaret going. He was going a minute ago, about a mile a minute, and just follow by to get him going. It'll pep up in here real quick. And I was just like, this guy's already got me figured out.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, there was definitely a thing on Casey's mom, Casey. Dennis wouldn't have cared what I said, but there was definitely a little bit of like, oh fuck, what is this guy about to say on the thing? But I kept it. I just, it was really nice. And I fucked up though. I don't know why I did this, but we ordered our meals in advance. And so it was prime rib, and I don't You guys are fucking gonna hate me. I know this, and I don't like prime rib. I don't like it. It's fucking not good. I don't it I because normally everybody likes it really really red,
Yeah.
and I just think it's kind of like tough, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. So, and then the other option was fish, and fish is hit or miss on things like that, right? And so then there was a spaghetti and meatballs option, and for some reason I fucking ordered spaghetti and meatballs at like a formal event, which was stupid.
I don't know. It's an Italian family, right?
It was, yeah, but I did good. I didn't get any on me,
There you go.
and I felt really good about it.
Do you have to do the napkin tucked into your shirt thing?
Man, I wanted to do that because I'll do that on a flight. Do you do that on flights?
I don't.
Oh, if I'm in first class and I get the cloth napkin and you're getting like the meal with the knife and fork and shit, I full on just go into the, the thing because only person that could see you is the guy next to you and the flight attendant.
Yeah, no, I've never done that on a plane. I'm gonna though.
Yeah, you should. Hey, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about things, some items, and Matt Rosemeier is going to be with us. We met this guy on tour on the first leg of the Hangover You Don't Deserve tour. He came out and had to sub in on bass as our buddy Joe had some family stuff to go to do, a bass player for Eternal Boy. So he came and sat in, and we became fast friends.
You know what? All of those dudes are just sweethearts.
Man, it's crazy because I know both these other legs are going to be awesome, but that, as far as a touring party with Eternal Boy and with Keep Flying, just the best guys. It's the best possible scenario to not having less than Jake on the road with us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we do love them very, very much. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Rockstar Dad Show. Y'all listen to this. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. Don't forget, we are now on every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. There's a replay on Fridays you guys can listen to too. But right after that 9 p.m. thing, we go to all of your favorite podcast apps. And you can subscribe, give us a review. That really does help us to find more people to listen to the show. We haven't been checking our email or any of that stuff recently, but we are on social media, and we would love it if you guys interacted with us. That also helps. And lots of good guests down the pipeline. Will be coming in live, not live. We're going to record on the road.
Yeah, it's
soon.
What mobile? There you go.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And you know what we could do? We could actually go on TikTok Live. That's not a bad idea. When we're recording these things sometimes, and that might get us buying more chopstick. We'll just see.
I've never bought chopsticks. Whenever we get Chinese food, they just send too many, and we just save them.
You get too many? Oh man, we never get them.
We have so many that the other day I took out like a fistful and asked Anique, like, do you want me to throw these away, or do you want to take them up to work? Do you need them up at work? She's like, oh yeah, we need them at work.
Just you gotta yeah, I mean, it isn't it weird how like that there's a kind of food that exists and it's just more practical to use their fucking utensils with it. It does make sense. I mean, and especially sushi to me, like sushi without chopsticks is just it's hard to even do it.
I can't grasp. I mean, I guess you use your hands. I don't know. You know what? I'm appreciative of the fact that they don't even ask. They just always send the chopsticks because like whenever you DoorDash something else, right? Like, or Uber Eats or just order delivery, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. They, a lot of the times, even if you do ask for utensils, they forget.
Yeah.
Man, if you're at a hotel or on a tour bus and they send you your spaghetti or whatever, and you don't have a fork, like, well, I mean, what are we doing here?
Oh, the worst is when you get soup and you don't get a spoon, and then you go in the dressing room to see if they've got spoons, and they just have those wooden ones, Oh, God.
Dude, the wooden utensils are like the worst thing that's happened in the past 10 years.
It's like going to the doctor when you're a kid and they stick the huge popsicle stick into your mouth, and it's that same taste. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but it makes everything like, you could eat ice cream and all of a sudden it just tastes like wood.
Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like the taste of wood. That's not what I want my chicken noodle soup to taste like.
No.
I don't want it. So I just fucking drink it and I'm all mad because the noodles slap me in the chin. You know what I mean? Like you're just pissed, you know, and you can't really drink chili.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, just the life that we live on the road is just it's chaos is what it is.
Yeah.
We you know, I'm glad that we finally figured out a night that we could take our wives to dinner with the Dooleys.
We are. We're gonna go do that thing again. We've been trying to do that for like months and months and months. We got to
I
coming up this weekend.
mean, yeah, and that's gonna be great. We're gonna take the wives out to dinner, and it's gonna be glorious.
Tyler and I went on a walk with the dog the other day. You know how we do that.
Oh yeah,
And I don't remember how we got on the conversation, but you know, I was telling him like I can just order for you anywhere we go.
yeah,
And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, you know, Jaret just pretty much eats like mom. Like you've expanded a
yeah.
little bit in the past few years, so now you'll do like mushrooms or something. You know, like you've done a few other things that you
No,
know
she eats mushrooms.
she eats mushrooms, right?
I eat lettuce.
You eat lettuce and sushi, and
Yeah.
you know, but y'all are pretty much
It's still about the same.
y'all's Venn diagram is almost overlapping.
Yeah,
And he was like, "Well, what would Jaret get at a steakhouse?" And I was like, "He'll eat a steak there, but I think that's like the only place that you would eat a steak."
yeah, it is. It's the only place I would because if anywhere else I would get chicken or like a chicken or like a flatbread or something. I wouldn't like I don't know that I've ever eaten a steak at like a Chili's or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
I told him that you just love sandwiches.
I do love sandwiches, but
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be eating as much bread these days. Because but I you know, if they've got like a grain bread or something,
Mhm.
then I'll do that. Or I lately what I've been doing is ordering it like as a salad, and then I just roll it up in a low carb tortilla and have a wrap.
There we go.
Yeah, but I do fucking love me a sandwich. I got these spaghetti and meatballs, and the spaghetti was a little undercooked. But I went ahead and ate it because we were drinking. Man, those people drink up there. I think it must be the cold.
You sent me a picture of a Stella Artois,
Yeah,
which we don't normally drink.
Mm-mm.
But when you sent it to me, I'd forgot that you went out of town, and I was like, "Whose house are you at?"
I know, right? And why would that even be there?
Yeah,
Right?
well, I mean, like it wasn't just the beer. Like
Yeah.
I didn't recognize the furniture, and I know most of your friends' houses, your neighbors' houses. You know, I was
Yeah.
like, where are you?
I know. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because but Dennis had went and got me Miller Lite, and then but like other people drank them,
Yeah,
and two, and then Casey drank like 3 of them on the last. Okay, 2 maybe. Anyway, she drank a couple of them and really pissed me off. I'm just kidding. And so anyway, I ran out. So then I started drinking this blue light, Labatt Blue Light,
mm-hmm.
and it's good. I really liked it.
This last trip when we went to Canada, we didn't drink any of that, but like years and years and years ago before that, we would drink a lot of that whenever we were in Canada.
But we were crazy back then. Like I remember drinking Fat Tire in Colorado and us like thinking that it was great. And now I take a drink of that and I'm like, what is this bullshit I have just put in my mouth? Remember we had those Molson like wacky beers that we just carried around, and we just but I think at that point it was just like we weren't to the point yet where you can just drink whatever you want because you can afford it.
Yeah. We were definitely drinking whatever we could get.
Yeah, whatever you could get. But and then so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like the last couple of trips we've been on, I've done so much better as far as like, you know, like we were in that bar in Ireland at the hotel, and I was just like drinking whatever the local thing was, and I did so I was like, all they got left is Stella, and I'm having fun drinking beers with Dennis and his dad, and fuck it. And I drank that Stella, and it was really delicious. But I had several other
Sure. And you know what? Like, also, I'm gonna guess that it probably came out of like a nice refrigerator
Oh
or a
yeah,
cooler. Like
absolutely.
our introduction to Stella was from another band in the UK, and they pulled out a crate of them from under their bus, and
Yes.
they were hot, and they're like, "Here, drink this," and we're like, "This is horrible."
Yeah, and boy,
Eh,
they just drink them like that all the time. That wall is sponge, and they would just carry them around in that thing and just drink them warm.
yeah,
Oh God! But see, that's the thing is like our intro to beers in the UK. We had always heard about how beers were warm, and they're not. They just can be because they don't just have refrigeration everywhere. So, like, if you're in a pub, the beer's fine. It's cold. I mean, it's not ever hot. But when we got to our dressing room the first time we went to Reading and Leeds, there was just fucking Carling beer on the floor, and that's it.
yeah. I mean, you're right. You can go to pubs there and find cold beer, but it's not like what we're used to, you
No,
know.
no,
And some places it's cold, and some places it's cool, you know.
yeah,
But like they don't take the pride in having cold beer like we do, you know. Like the I think it's the Observer every year they put out like the bars with the cold, like they rank
yeah,
bars that have the coldest, like the top 10 coldest, and they put
right.
like the temperature of what the beer is at this point. Like, no, they're just like, it's, you know, we have some in the fridge. It may have been there for 30 seconds, but it's there.
Our friend Darren from the UK came to visit us one time, and I took him to that place. I can't remember what it was called. We had that. It was like a restaurant, but they did barbecue. And they're not around anymore.
I know. Yeah,
Oh, fuck! I almost got it. It starts with a T, right?
I know exactly where and what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, he got his beer, and he was like, "Oh, there's something in this. I think it's broken glass," and it was ice, like the fucking because it had froze to the frosty mug.
Yeah, it was like frost from the mug, not
Yeah.
ice, not like an ice cube.
And then they tried chicken fried steak with cream gravy on it. And it is the funniest shit to watch an English person eat cream gravy for the like white gravy for the first time because you got to think like that's just not a consistency that they would really have on anything else. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I could understand that being really fucking gross when you stick it because it's almost gelatinous, you know, like it's thick.
At some place it is, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, they ended up liking it. But it is funny to see like biscuits and gravy or whatever for the first time. See English people try that shit. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's coldish, you know, and it's but you know, I mean, again, you sort of like just get by with whatever the fuck it is. I mean, it's like here in this country, especially, if I get a beer from the thing and it's not like absolutely the coldest thing I've ever held in my life, I will trade that motherfucker in. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to drink that.
Yeah. We've got other beers. I'm gonna
Yeah.
wait longer for them to get cold and not drink this one that's not cold.
Yeah. I got to tell the other day at that charity thing that I went to, I um they brought in more beer and the lady goes, "Yeah, just give us about 10-20 minutes for this beer to get cold." And I go, "Well, is it on ice?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I just go, 12 minutes, set a timer. It's been proven.
Yeah.
We've done the science. It's we've backed this up with experiments, science, altitude tests, all that shit,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, yeah, we've traveled the world and we know how long it takes to get beer
Yeah,
cold wherever we
cold.
are.
Yeah, to get it like to the perfect temperature of coldness. Yeah, I had fun though. It was a good trip. Hey, listen, so I'm so stoked to talk to Matt Rosemeier. He is the father of four. He works for Facebook. He's a really good musician and just an all around good dude. And so that's going to come up right after the break, our interview with him. Until then, y'all hang out, listen to this, and we'll be right back with more Rockstar Dad Show. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. And our new buddy, our new friend who he came in to the rescue for Eternal Boy. He slid in as tall as Rishi, which nobody could have ever imagined there'd be two 25-foot dudes in a band
Yep.
opening up for Bowling for Soup on leg one. But hey, listen, our new friend Matt Rosemeier, how are you, brother?
I am fine. Thank you so much for having me. Can you believe a
Did I?
week ago we were at the sold out Bluestone and now we're in
No,
our houses?
I know, and it's awesome. Did I fuck up your last name?
No, that's exactly how you say it.
Man, that's two in a row, Gary.
Yeah.
Rosemeier.
Matt,
In
were you
a-
as happy to get home as we were? I was just worn out and beat at the end of that.
I tell you what, it's chaos around my house,
Yeah.
and you forget that when you're out on the road. And when I travel for work, like it's just like, I miss them, and then they come home and it's just elbow to the nuts, right in bed. I'm like, we're home. So it was bittersweet, you know, like to come home from something like that. But my children were interested and also confused. Like, well, who were you with? And I was like, Matt, do you guys know Blippy? Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
he's
course.
a big YouTube sensation for kids. I was like, imagine like you got to hang out with Blippy all week. And you're like, I was like, I was with my versions of my Blippies. So they
Oh,
were like, cool. Can we have a snack? Can we go
Yeah.
outside? And they were like,
oh, yeah.
"Dang." But
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife loved it.
Yeah, it's funny. Kids are funny just trying to figure out anything anyway. Like, and it's funny even like because my Everett's 11,
Mhm.
and I was coming up here to do Rockstar Dad Show, and he goes, "Oh, you still doing the podcast?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, what did you do when you were on the road?" And I said, "Oh, well, we were gonna do them from the road, but we didn't, and so we did reruns." And he goes, "What's a rerun?" And I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like we're back to CDs here, you know? Like it just that's not anything. He is never. He's never going to even. He doesn't need that, you know. It's
Yeah.
like
On
it's
demand, man.
yeah,
On
on
demand.
demand is their life, you know. And actually, I started this story last show, but we got our boys' TVs. They don't even turn them on. Like they watch everything on their phone, iPad,
iPads. Yeah. Everett
computer.
had his Switch too.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that thing is just for Minecraft and then playing Fortnite with Dave because
No Roblox. No Roblox. Are we
he does
beyond?
do Roblox.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right. Yeah,
I got Tyler a Switch years and years ago, like when they first came out, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I didn't do a good job explaining it or what, but like he just always liked his Xbox on the big screen on the TV and never cared about the Switch. And I'm like, but whenever we travel, you can take it with you. And he's like, yeah. But I'm like, we can hook it up to a real TV, and you
Right.
can have. He never has cared about it, so like he's kind of just handed it on to my daughter now.
Well, speaking of consoles, you guys, you know, not to tangent, but I saw you guys in the dressing room with that like collapsible TV thing, a Pelican case with the
Yeah.
PlayStation in it.
yeah.
I was like, that is awesome. I love cases. Like anything that can make something bigger and heavier and harder to carry. I'm all about it. I'm just all about it. I used to have an amp, like we called it the fridge. It had a 4-space rack and then the Mesa head and then the whole cabinet and then it just sandwiched. Then it weighed
All in one thing.
all in one, dude. It was
No
a
way.
billion pounds.
Yeah,
and,
that's insanity, man. Do you
and
remember
now it's just neural. Now you just put it in your backpack and with the
remember the
quad-
Mesa one that like had it was its own road case? They sent
Yes.
those out for a while.
Yep.
Those things were so fucking heavy. But anyway, we always went back to the Ampeg fridge. Or not fridge. What do they call those? The one
The 8x10.
yeah, the
Yeah.
8x10 thing.
Yeah,
And
the
it's like
fridge. Yep.
it moves like a dolly, you
Yep.
know, like but I mean, putting those in a case is insane. So we just beat the fuck out of those things. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even touring with Eternal Boy, like we had the two 4x10 or 4x12s, and they're just destroyed. And I was like, Rishi, don't you want like a big, heavy, obnoxious case for this? And he's like, nope. Who cares? Just let it get destroyed. But yeah.
yeah, exactly. You know, so well, let's talk a little bit about you because you know we met, we became fast friends. You came in, you know, and honestly, so sweet, and you know you're Bowling for
Ugh.
Soup fan, and you know like the fucking the deal, and but you know got to talking, and it turns out you know you have 4 kids, and one
I
of them's
sure do.
a little baby at home,
Yeah.
you know, and so tell us about your family, as we get rolling here, and into this, man, four girls, right?
It's 3 girls, 1 boy.
Okay. So tell us their
And,
names.
yeah, so they, in order, I had a boy and then 3 girls, which is
Okay.
exactly how I grew up. I'm the oldest boy of 4 kids, and I have 3 little sisters. So,
Wow.
when we were doing the whole, we didn't do gender reveal with airplanes, right? We just took a cell phone video and send it to our family. And everyone's like, Matt, you are going to transition into your own father. This one's going to be a girl. You're going to complete the cycle. You're going to have a boy and 3 girls. Just so. And that happened. And my job, gives me 4 months paternity leave because obviously I deserve it. I did all that work
Of
growing
course.
that baby. But my son is the oldest. His name is Jet, Jett. He's 6 years
Mhm.
old. Hadley is next. She is 4. Then Ruby is 2, and Piper is about to be 9 months old
Wow.
this month. And those are all aviation related names. The least obvious is Ruby, but her middle name is Sky, like Sky Hoppus, Mark Hoppus's wife, spelled the same
Okay.
way. Because in 2010 I got a pilot's license, and then I just got obsessed with aviation as like another cheap hobby to add to this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we did. So we have Jet Hadley. Hadley Rill is the name of the mountain range on the moon where the Apollo astronauts last visited. And then we have Ruby Sky, and then Piper is the aircraft manufacturer that makes airplanes. So we have all airplane babies.
Was getting the pilot license part of the becoming your father?
No,
Is
my
he a pilot?
dad is not a pilot. My mom just hates all this. She's scared of heights. I started skydiving before that.
Wow.
And when I was 19, I went on my first skydive. And since then I got a license. I bought my own parachute, learned how to pack it. I've gone skydiving 307 times.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's, I mean, not lately, once you have the people actually depending on you, it's like, perhaps let's pause this for a minute. And then I did the base jumping. There's a big bridge in West Virginia called the New River Gorge. It's 876 feet off the river, and I jumped off of that twice. This is all early 20s. I'm 37 now, so
Okay.
we got that out of the way. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's like the obsession with flying and being in the sky. Like, and my mom just hates it. She hates flying on like a Southwest plane. Like,
Yeah.
you
You're
know.
the only musician in the world where your mother's like, "Would you please stop doing this hobby and go back to making music, please?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
can you go back into your dead end hobby over here?
Yeah,
After you've jumped out of an airplane 300 plus times and then base jumped and all this crazy shit, like does the rest of your life just move in slow motion now?
it's I still have dreams about it, Gary. Like I have dreams that like I do it again, and it's just awesome. And of course, like, once you fall and you're like on your belly, that becomes boring. And you're like, well, maybe I can go head down like a lawn dart, which you go faster. So the ground comes at you faster, and you got to pay attention and make sure you don't like lose track of like where the ground is, because it will arrive with or without you paying
Yeah,
attention.
yeah, totally. Yeah, once you're out of the plane,
Yeah.
that's just, that's what Isaac Newton fucking told us, guys.
And he was right.
Yeah, and that's like, have you been hit in the head with an apple? I mean,
They're heavy. They hurt.
it's fucking. I heard it was one of them Granny Smiths too. Shit, it's like a fucking pumpkin falling out of a tree. Just like,
Yeah. It's but life moving in slow motion, it probably did at first, and then the 4 kids arrived, and now it's just like my
yeah,
baseline is 90%. We go from 90
right.
to 120, and then by the time they're all in bed, it's just like, do you just want to like go in the hot tub and drink wine, or just go to
Yeah,
bed? And it's 50-50. It's
sure.
50-50.
Man,
But
but I mean, so we talked about this a little bit. You work from home
yep.
most of the time, and you work for a social media company.
Hmm.
You can say it if you want. I just didn't know if you wanted to say it.
Yeah, it's what I work for Facebook, but I work on WhatsApp as a iPhone app developer.
Oh, okay. Do they
Yeah.
own Do they own WhatsApp?
Yeah, Facebook, now Meta has like their Facebook app, which is like its own thing, and then Instagram,
Yeah.
and they also have WhatsApp, and then like the thing you strap to your head, Oculus, like
Yeah,
they bought
yeah,
them a
totally.
while ago, and they have their own thing. Those are actually really, really cool.
Oh yeah, Gary. Everett. Sorry, I almost called him Eric. Gary. Everett.
You're getting up there in the age.
Oh my God. He's got this Oculus, and it is hilarious. Just watching this kid. He plays this thing called monkey tag or some shit.
Monkey tag.
Or ape
Nice.
tag or something. Gorilla tag. It's gorilla tag.
I haven't heard of that one.
Oh my God. And it's so funny because he's in there with a bunch of strangers and he's just going, guys, don't kill me. You just hear it's just and
It's falling over.
it's just hilarious. And then he has to have all this room and he punches the dog. And it's fucking hilarious.
Have you done it, Jaret?
No,
Chris got one on the bus a few years ago.
Yeah.
And so we all played with it enough to go through the training, pick up the pin and throw the paper airplane.
But drawing the perimeter around you. And they're like, if anything's in your way, you're gonna stub your toe. I mean, I've punched coffee off the island.
Yeah.
And they warned me. They're like, don't do this. And I'm like, it's fine. And then coffee goes flying.
It's mind-boggling how quick you go from sitting on a tour bus. You put this thing on, you're on a tour bus. You're going through this little training thing. Okay, pick up the remote control. Pick up this paper airplane that's not really there and throw it. Yeah. And you forget how it's amazing how quickly you forget. And then you punch a table in real life. And you're like,
your brain is just like, bro, I don't know what all this input is, but it's not matching.
Yes.
There wasn't a table and now your hand hurts. So dude,
it's crazy.
My wife can't do it. She has really bad motion sickness.
Interesting.
So that also means she drives the minivan while if we go on a trip and I'm the guy crawling in the back, don't punch your sister kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. You're what, 6'3", and you're just in the back of a minivan.
Oh yeah. Just rolling up in a ball. Dude. It's you know, I'm in that stage. The oldest is 6. So remember when your oldest was 6? Totally. That's where I am.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of little kids. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean my goodness, because mine were mine are 21, 18, and 11. So the 2 older kids were 3 years apart, which was perfect. And a girl boy, and then then they had this little guy that they could just drag around and shit, and then until they didn't want him anymore, and then they'd lock him out of their room and he would cry. And it's pretty much the same childhood I had. But yeah, I mean that's just a lot of little kids, and you're sort of still at those stages, right, where everything is developing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But you don't really even know yet what kind of dude Jet's gonna be.
Right.
He's not a dude yet.
Yeah, I know what kind of boy he is. And he's very kind and sweet and hates spiders, but will pick up a centipede, pick up a frog. It's
That's
just
amazing.
Yeah. So it's just he surprises me, and he's really smart. I taught him how to play checkers this summer. And at first, I crushed him. He sucked, missing all the double jumps. He's like, you should have told me. I'm like, that's not how, and I can't beat him now. He's just,
and you're a dad, right? You play, right? So
I play to win. And
he
just crushes me at checkers. So you're right though. I don't know if anyone's going to be into music or flying or maybe just something totally different, but you've gotten to see that.
Yes.
With your older 2.
Yeah. And now Everett, I sort of, again, he's, as you said, he's super kind. He's scared of all bugs and spiders because of his sister, who basically taught him that those things were going to literally crawl down his throat and kill him. So he will literally, a pack of kids come over, knock on the door, and he goes to go outside and he walks back in and he'll just be quiet. And I'll be like, what are you not going outside? He was, I was going to go outside and play, but there's a bee on the porch.
There's one bee outside where bees live.
Walk past the bee, so yeah, but yeah, it's going to be super interesting too. Now, what's the dynamic? Because I feel with 3 girls, one of those girls is going to take charge of this fucking group.
I mean, nail on the head, Jaret. I mean, my Ruby, my second daughter, the 2-year-old.
The one I picked. That's my money was on Ruby.
She just is her facial expressions and the dimples, and I'm like, you're just like your mom. You get away with everything because you're good looking.
Yeah.
She'll wait. I'll try to make her think I'm not watching her, but and she'll look at me and be sure that I'm not watching her, and then just take a whack at her 6-year-old brother, who could pick her up and body slam her, but he doesn't. Like, he's not rough and tumble, and she is just something else. And with the baby, she just squeezes, she'll pinch her cheeks, that cuteness, aggression.
Oh yeah.
And she's not happy till the baby starts crying. I'm like, Ruby, Ruby, Ruby. Okay, there it is. You got what you wanted. So yeah, you're 1,000% right, man. And
Yeah. It's crazy. That will be so interesting to see, how that continues to develop, like if she's like going to be your little troublemaker, but also the one that is like so near and dear to your heart,
she
and
was the first baby, because I've now had 2 babies on paternity leave at Facebook. So
Mhm.
thank you, Facebook, for that. But like, my wife even says, like, you can tell like how close you guys are because you just had that 4 months, like when she went from 0 to 4 months. And the same thing with Piper. Not that I'm not close with my other kids, but like I missed out on that because I was a contractor. I just did like work for startups here and there, and did all that kind of stuff. But yeah, she definitely knows that she's got daddy wrapped around her little finger. 1,000,000,000,000%.
now, so, and again, they don't really have, any sort of idea of, what you do for a living. And what's interesting to me is, I'm assuming, but
You're right.
but
You're
because
right. You're exactly right.
because at those ages, like, it was hard for, me to explain to my kid, like, well, I go sing songs. Oh,
Right.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
cool.
And you're like, well, I make this thing so that people can talk to each other on their phone.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, Jared, I mean, to be fair, like you can explain that to most adults, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
you're
that's
right.
very true. That's very true. I think my dad just realized that I don't work for Apple. Like, I work on the Apple device. But you're totally right. I try to, like, well, what do you understand? You understand YouTube Kids. I'm like, well, you know how there's that little square and you tap on it and you watch Miss Rachel and you watch Blippi? I make stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, cool. Can I have a snack?
Yeah.
I don't
Always,
care.
right? Yeah, we do not care. Man, I mean, but WhatsApp is, I mean, it's crazy. Like, there's
Yeah.
there's a whole generation of people who won't even text you. Like, and especially like in England, they're, even if
Yep.
they have iMessage, but they'll be like, "Do you have WhatsApp?" And I'm like, "I have it, but why do I need to go
Yeah.
on there? It's a whole nother thing." But they love it, man.
Especially in other countries. They're really pushing here. Like, you probably have started like noticing the ads for WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
it's all over my Instagram feed.
Yeah.
But
Seen them on TV,
yeah.
actually. I saw one on
yeah.
television the other day. Yeah.
I haven't touched my WhatsApp for probably a year and a half, but the other day I got a notification from it. I'm like, okay, something's going on here.
It was me.
Yeah.
I found your account. I found your account. Please don't forget me.
Yeah, dude. Well, it is interesting though, because I was supposed to go onto a game show after the tour and ended up having to come home for some medical shit. And but regardless of all that, as I was going, they were like, we switch once you're out of this country. It is exclusively WhatsApp. Like, people, they don't have their phone plans. We don't turn our phone plans on or whatever. You're going to do this thing or whatever. So, like, I assume that iMessage is sort of like a direct competition
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
but
for sure. And
then
they
you
know.
live on their app, on their device.
Their big thing is like the merchant side, like where if you have like, Jaret's Trinkets, like you can start a WhatsApp business account and then you can buy ads where you're like putting a banner ad on a website, or you won't do it, but you'll create, you'll approve the ad and people will put it on websites. And when they tap on the ad, it doesn't take you to your Trinkets website. It takes you to a chat with you directly in WhatsApp, and then you start talking about like how many trinkets you want and what it's going to cost, and you could do. So that's actually like the part of WhatsApp that I work on, like the
That's
payment,
cool.
the payments part. So you get into all the regulations and credit card companies and what you can and can't do and how you store the card. All very exciting things.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty exciting to me. And I like how things work. One of my neighbors, one of my best buddies, created an app, and
Mhm.
now, and I mean, he probably similar sort of, I mean, I don't know he didn't go to college. He came out, he learned code, he started working on these things or whatever. Then he had this high paying job, whatever, and he created an app, and now that app is gangbusters huge.
That's
you know?
awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like I liken it to like being in a band and trying to get signed and trying to have a
Yeah.
hit song. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Like that app that I made that you saw a couple times on stage that does like
Mhm.
the scrolling lyrics. That was never like, I mean, I've had my this I'm gonna get rich from this idea, but that wasn't that. And that actually has made the most money. Like over 10 years, it's like $4,000 or something. But like I didn't have that before,
Yeah.
and I made it because I needed it, and it was super helpful on tour and stuff like that. But like that's how that happens. Like you have a great idea, and then you're just in the app store with billions of apps, just like you put your song on Spotify with billions of other songs. Like I saw an interview with you recently talking about like, don't bitch about Spotify. Like just be glad you get anything. Like the way you make money in XYZ industry, in your case it's music, is you go out and grind. And it's
Yeah.
the same thing with apps. You got to get it in front of people and do whatever. But I just let it I let it just simmer, and it's still in the app store, and I use it. And now I use like app income to like buy gear and try to make hit songs. And
Yeah.
it's just a
That's
blast.
super cool, though. I mean, it is. I mean, it's the Wild West, I mean, and it's like that in so many things, but it's not just it's so many aspects of the creative world, because people ask me all the time. They're like, "Hey, man, I've been thinking about getting into voiceover," and I'm like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay. Well, yeah. So you want to be you because oh, I can do these impressions and I can do this and this and this." I'm like, "All that's great, all that's great," but it is no different than the music business. It's no different than creating an app. It is no different than anything. Like it is.
Everybody thinks everything's easy until they do it,
Everybody
right?
thinks everything is easy until they do it. Yep.
Yeah.
You're so
I
right.
mean, I tell you, like when I saw you guys like in your crew and like doing the sound check for you, and I was like, man, that's awesome. That looks way easier. And then it's just like, yeah, but dude, like the dues were paid. Like
Oh, yeah,
that,
for sure.
that
Oh, yeah,
you
definitely.
guys, riding in the van, I'm in flip-flops, and I'm like, I got so lucky that I didn't get a caster like right over my big toe. But because I'm not going to change my shoes. We got gear to load. But yeah, I can see how like somebody at a show like me, who like, I let myself forget for a second, that like you guys like grinded for 9 years before anyone knew what Bowling for Soup was. And
Yeah.
the dues were paid, and you gotta
Indeed.
pay the dues.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, but I mean, again, I think but that's the thing that I think it's just sort of hitting me right this minute, of like someone like you or Derek, my buddy that created Session, which is his app. It's
Oh,
an app
sweet.
for he found a niche that photographers did not have, and he met a niche, and it is fucking crazy. It's huge. But the thing is that so people constantly coming up to him like, "Dude, I got this idea for this app," and
Right.
like,
Same.
even if the idea is, and that's what I was going to say to you. So you got to get this all the time. And the thing about it is you listen to it and you go, even if that idea is great, I mean, and the fucking best idea in the world, you have no idea what it's going to take to make that successful.
I mean, dude, like there's so many guys. I was like, I just want to be the idea guy. I'm like, your
Yeah.
idea is jack shit
Yeah.
without execution. Imagine if you and Gary got together and say like, hey, it's been 9 years. Like, I want to write like a funny, fun song that everyone can relate to. It's gonna be like about this girl. Maybe we can sing about how she has a nose ring, and she'll have like a 2-syllable name. And then we'll have like a catchy title. And then Gary said, yeah, man, that'd be awesome. And then you just never did it.
Yeah.
People come up all the time going, "Oh, I've got an idea for a song." Guess what? That an
Yeah.
idea is nothing. You got to write it, you got to perform it, you got to record it, you got to get it in front of people. How
Yeah.
many people think, I want to open a restaurant? How many people do open a restaurant? And
Yeah,
then
which
it's
by the
gone?
way, don't do that.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
back to my point earlier, everything is easy until you do it.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's a nonchalant thing though, right? I feel like where like an app, or again, for some reason people think voiceover is like the easiest. It just, oh man, and I know I could do it because I can
Uh-huh.
impersonate Frank Sinatra or whatever. And it's like, man, and it's almost insulting sometimes, like how many
I know.
people up to me and they're like, so it's got to be that way for you because it's because people are so exposed to it.
Yeah, you
Everybody's
see the end
downloading.
result. You see all the ones that won. You saw everybody that made it. The App Store, I mean, it's a cemetery. Like some of those apps, Apple just
Yeah.
recently over the past couple years started saying like, look, if you haven't like updated this app and like we're deleting it. Like get lost. Like
Yeah.
we're done. I mean, it goes for songwriting too. Like I'll have songwriting ideas and I'll write them down in my notes app. I'm like, man, I keep coming down in this studio and that song didn't write itself yet.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But I mean, those things are those ideas are good. I mean, that one day that song, I mean, Getting Old Sucks was laying around. High School Never Ends actually is a better example. Man, I had that written down for years.
Oh
Just
man, a great song.
just written down and I knew what I wanted it to be about. And then me and Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne sitting in a room and he's just like, you got anything? And I'm like, I mean, I have this really, really good title with a concept or whatever. And then that song, it finally happened. And so
I can imagine that you had a list of all the, Brad Pitt, the quarterback, Bill Gates, captain of the, like how many of those like A, B just didn't make it into the song? Because you couldn't
you couldn't get them all in.
The syllables like didn't match. Like
the song can't be an hour and a half long.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like trying to convince one another that we're right on it. So when we hit on the right 4, I think there's 4, it was obvious. And even when we redid the song for the greatest hits, songs people actually like volume 2, I thought about redoing it. Like I thought about but even when I heard it back, I go, these are still the things.
Yeah.
You can argue with me about Reese Witherspoon, but I will win the argument. She is the prom queen.
Absolutely.
She
Legally Blonde. You got into Harvard? What? Like it's hard? Like, dude, that's well, you could do like with a reprise that you do with Ohio.
Yeah.
Like where you just once you back and there's just a list of 500 of them.
That's actually a really good idea. We should do that sometime and just,
oh, dude,
like do the whole high school, like most
everything, all the clicks, all the people. You could update it for the celebrities that probably weren't even born. Like when you first Millie Bobby Brown is a lot of syllables, but I know you can do it. I know you can do it.
Robert Downey Jr. He's the cokehead.
Jesus,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He's the cokehead most likely to succeed.
I think that was a category. Yeah, they put that in the yearbook.
Good for that guy, by the way. Oh man. Well, Matt, dude, this went by way too quick. We could talk to you forever.
Thank you.
But dude, so it was great. So Matt, I don't know that we even really said. Yeah, we did. You came in, you sat in with Eternal Boy. We became fast friends, and you're just an awesome dude and a true rock star dad, and somebody that I feel like should check in with this show quite often, because for kids under the age of 6 or 6 and under, there's going to be a lot of developments here.
Yeah, I would love to. I could bring him on. Yeah, you don't want that. We never get it. What's his name? What's his name? Why does he have a beard?
For the first couple of years we were doing this show, Mia, Gary's youngest, was at home. And
it was during COVID, so all the kids.
Oh yeah, you're right. All the kids were at home, and so she would just come in dressed as a princess, and tell me who she was that day. So it's that particular day,
Elsa or
Elsa that day or whatever, and interview me, and then and so we love that shit. So
yeah,
but, dude, man, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you, and I'm glad. And hopefully, we're gonna see you when we're up north. Hopefully, you can make it out to a show.
Yeah, I haven't dropped that bomb yet. I'm kind of letting the dust for settle. I'm going on another show with Rishi for Eternal Boy.
Yeah.
If you guys, I don't know, like I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. Like if you want to listen to like my original stuff, you can find it under Boy in Blue Stripes.
Yes.
There was I mentioned this the first time I met you in Greensburg, that when I wrote this Christmas song, I thought of you immediately, and I'm typing the whole thing so excited, like, Jared, you got it, but my caps lock was on, and you responded, "Why are you yelling at me?" And I don't know. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was your social media
No,
manager.
that would have been me. That's definitely me. And that I love the fact when I hear stories like that because I'm just like, oh yeah, that's real. That's
Yeah,
definitely what I would have
100%.
said
I
for
can't
sure.
imagine what your inbox looks like, but to be here less than a year later, like talking with you guys, and for anyone listening, Bowling for Soup is as cool as they seem.
Oh man.
And this has been a dream for me to fill in and be, friends with you guys and part of what you're doing in life as dads. And yeah, just thank you so much.
Well,
bro.
so what else? How else can people find you on social media?
So my main one is boy in blue stripes.
Okay.
That's on Instagram, and that's like I have pictures of like building this studio and song ideas. And there's actually I was cutting the grass, drinking beer in my Chris Burney koozie. And then as I'm driving by, like I took like a very shaky but kind of panning video of the new barn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like it's just I'm trying to be, share more. I think my big problem with social media is like this, this is egotistical to show like me cutting the grass, but people are interested. They want to see. So if you put it there, maybe you'll get some likes. Maybe
Yeah.
someone will want to come check it out.
People like I actually just saw this comedian the other day, which he finally somebody put it into words or whatever, and he goes, "It's going to be so funny when like this generation is old, like
Yeah.
like us right now, like when we get old and we're like, come look at this photograph. Here is a photo of my breakfast." And he's just like, and here are 12 more just like it, trying to get the right
I don't
one."
think that was John Mulaney, but it sounds like it.
I
could
think,
be.
was
I,
not that.
Jared, I think our generation is going to be a little bit different because, like, I'm watching Anik's parents and my mom and a bunch of our parents get older, and they're at that age where it's like, I need you to do less. Like
Yeah.
you're doing too much. You're going to hurt yourself. You're wearing yourself out. Like, I just need you to do less. Let me help more and all that,
Mhm.
right? But they're like, I want to do it, and they don't want to do less, right? I think when our generation gets to the age where like do less, or like whatever your new game console is, set me in front of it. We
Yeah.
ain't doing shit.
Yeah. You're probably right. You are probably right, man. By the way, Matt does do a mean John Mulaney.
It was so the backstory here is that when I first met Jared, like obviously if you couldn't tell, like I was nervous. That was like, I was trying to be, not say anything stupid or whatever. But my wife always tells, which shout out to my wife Susan, by the way, 4 kids and I'm on tour with Bowling
Yes.
for Soup.
Thank you, Susan. They
Like
are the real rock stars.
She was the unsung hero. Like, yes, thanks Bowling for Soup, thanks Rishi Ball for bringing me on and being so kind and giving me a chance to do this. But this doesn't happen without Susan Rosemeier.
Yep.
And she that puddle emoji, that's what she was like when I got home, just
Yeah.
putting 4 kids to bed and all that stuff. But she says, Matt, like when you're on, like you don't get a little John Mulaney. I already gave you $120,000 and you have the audacity to ask me for more money. I love John Mulaney.
Love it so much. Yeah, that's funny because you do, man. When you get a little hyped up, couple of beers in you,
Yeah,
it's John Mulaney it up. And
dude. Last thing, dude, the beers. So I haven't had a Miller Lite since I was like 18, and it was the first time I ever learned how much is too much to get drunk. Like I was obviously not old enough to drink, but as one does when you're a teenager, it was the first and last time I ever had Miller Lite. Just like drinking it, like reminded me of like just puking all night. I got in so much trouble, but
good
I had to thank you guys for completely replacing that core memory with such a better one than barfing all over myself.
Now that's alcohol is one of those things where Butch Walker can actually tell you the reason why he stopped drinking every kind of alcohol. It all leads to red wine, and that's it. So that's all he drinks now because he has a story for, okay, well, the reason I don't drink vodka, the reason I don't drink tequila, and everything has its story. So, Matt Rosemeier, thank you so much, brother. You are truly a rock star dad, and we will see you soon. Hopefully, everybody else, you guys know what to do. Be good. We'll see you soon. Y'all be good. I already said that. Son of a bitch.
This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that you know, some rockstar dads who started a show. Until the next episode.